So, an anonymous trader spends $17 on a coin nobody had ever heard of, a coin named after a dead squirrel. 10 days later, that $17 is worth $3 million. Somewhere in the world, a person opens a Bitcoin wallet they had not touched in almost 14 years. In July 2012, they had spent $13,685 on it. On March 20th, 2026, at 10:27 in the morning UTC, it is worth $147 million. And a 19-year-old kid in Indonesia, who lost 700 million rupiah in a single trade at 15, quietly walks into a village on the island of Sumba and inaugurates a school. He paid for it, himself, with crypto profits. Welcome to SEA Daily Buzz. Today, 3 of the luckiest and, in one case, kindest crypto stories from the past 2 years. Pine City, New York, October 30th, 2024. A team of 6 to 12 officers from New York's Department of Environmental Conservation executes a search warrant at the home of a man named Mark Longo. They are looking for a squirrel. His name is Peanut. Longo had rescued him as an infant in 2017 after Peanut's mother was killed by a car. He bottle-fed the animal for 8 months. Peanut lived with him for 7 years. Together, on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook combined, they had more than 3 million followers. The officers search the house for about 5 hours. They find Peanut hiding in a bathtub. They find a pet raccoon in a suitcase in a closet. They take both. Peanut bites one officer through a glove. Within 24 hours, the state euthanizes him, the only way to test for rabies. The rabies test comes back negative. The story hits the internet during one of the busiest news weeks of the year in America. Elon Musk posts about it. Other public figures post about it. Within hours, it is one of the biggest news stories in the United States. Millions of people are angry. And somewhere, an anonymous developer is watching. October 31st, 2024, 1 day later. That developer opens a Solana wallet, pays $335 in transaction fees, and launches a meme coin called PNUT. Total supply, 1 billion tokens. 2 minutes after launch, the developer sells their own share for $620, walks away with a $300 profit, never touches PNUT again. If they had held that same stack for 2 more weeks, it would have been worth over $155 million. But this story is not about that developer, it is about the buyer. Another anonymous trader, using a wallet whose address begins with the characters 6R3W, sees the coin the day it launches, reads the news, buys $17 worth of PNUT, roughly 3 million tokens at a price of about 4/10,000ths of a cent per token. The entire market cap of PNUT at that moment is under $10,000. Then the trader waits. November 11th, 2024. Binance lists PNUT, 0 listing fee, extremely rare. Within 1 day, the price jumps from 10 cents to 40 cents. Market cap crosses $400 million. 2 days later, on November 13th, the trader begins selling, not all at once. A few 100,000 tokens over about 5 hours through a decentralized exchange. Then more the next night. Then, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, they make their final swap. PNUT price at that moment, $1.50. Total realized, about 13,500 Solana tokens, roughly $3 million US. A gain of over 16 million% in 10 days. Later that same night, PNUT hits its all-time high of $2.44. Market cap peaks somewhere between $1.8 and $2.4 billion, depending on which source you trust. If the trader had waited 8 more hours, they could have walked away with almost $6 million. Today, in July 2026, PNUT trades around 4 cents. Market cap, $45 million, down over 98% from that peak. $17, $3 million, 10 days. And a squirrel that most of the world had never heard of 3 weeks before. Somewhere in the world, July 4th, 2012, someone opens a Bitcoin wallet. The address starts with the characters 1NB3Z. Into that wallet, in a single transaction, they receive 2,100 Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price that day, $6.50 per coin. Total cost of the buy, $13,685 US. In 2012, that was roughly the price of a used car in America, or, at the exchange rate of the time, close to 2 years of average income across most of Southeast Asia. Then the wallet goes silent. No sends, no receives, not a single transaction, not one. Bitcoin goes through everything during those years. The Silk Road takedown, the 2014 collapse of Mt. Gox, the Tokyo exchange that once processed 70% of all Bitcoin trades on Earth, the 2017 bull run to 20,000, the 2018 crash, every major exchange failure of 2022, the all-time highs of 2021, the 2024 halving, that wallet does not move. 13 years and 7 months. March 20th, 2026, 10:27 UTC. The wallet wakes up. Whale alert. The on-chain tracker flags the movement within minutes. An analyst going by the name Ember CN posts that the wallet's history looks consistent with an early withdrawal from Mt. Gox. If that is true, this was someone who used Mt. Gox in 2012, pulled their Bitcoin out, held the private keys, and did nothing for almost 14 years. The first move the wallet makes is small, a test transaction, approximately $50 worth of Bitcoin sent to a fresh address. That pattern is very specific. When a whale is about to move a fortune, they first send a tiny amount to confirm the private key still works. Then, and only then, they move the rest. At the moment of that first move, Bitcoin trades at approximately $70,000. 2,100 Bitcoin, 147 million US dollars. 13,685 into 147 million, roughly 10,700 times return. In percentage terms, over 1 million%. And then, this is the part that stunned analysts. The wallet stops moving again. The test transaction happens. The bulk of the Bitcoin, over 2,099 coins, stays in the original address. No exchange deposit, no sale, no further transaction. To this day, according to the most recent public reports, Arkham has no label on the wallet. Nobody knows who this person is. Some analysts believe this pattern is exactly what a whale who does not need to sell would do. Confirm the keys still work. Leave the coins alone. Move them someday when the moment actually requires it. The context matters. According to on-chain data platforms like checkonchain, in 2026 alone, dormant Bitcoin wallets aged 5 to 15 years released about $7.6 billion in Bitcoin back into circulation. Most of those wallets are from 2014 through 2017. Wallets going back to 2012 are still mostly silent, which means the person behind this one wallet held longer and through more chaos than almost anyone else who has ever owned Bitcoin. Bought when it cost less than a cheap dinner, watched it multiply 10,000 times, and still has not sold. That, in this industry, is its own kind of miracle. But the biggest lucky bastard in this episode is not the $17 trader, is not the 14-year Bitcoin holder. It is a 19-year-old in Indonesia, because he decided the money was not the point. Indonesia, 2020, the middle of the pandemic. A 14-year-old boy named Sulianto Indria Putra, everyone calls him Suli, sits in front of his computer with 3 million rupiah his parents just gave him, about 190 US dollars. Because he is underage, they have to open the trading account under his mother's name. He buys blue-chip Indonesian stocks, Bank Central Asia, others. Bought during the pandemic crash when everything is discounted. Within about a year, his portfolio is up over 100%. He gets confident. He expands into Forex. In one bad stretch, he loses over 80% of his portfolio. In one single FOMO trade, he loses 700 million rupiah. In a day. He is 15 years old. Most 15-year-olds quit. Suli does not quit. He studies. In 2021, he pivots to crypto and blockchain. He starts trading again. He makes back the losses. And then, a lot more than that. By age 18, his personal net worth crosses 1 million US dollars. By November 2025, at age 19, Indonesian financial media reports his assets at over 100 billion rupiah, about 6 to 6.5 million US dollars. He founds a trading community called Trade with Suli, 60,000 members across Discord, YouTube, and Instagram. His personal Instagram account, at last count, over 1 million followers. On lists of the biggest crypto influencers in Indonesia, he is ranked number 2. None of that is why Indonesia is talking about him. August 11th, 2025. Suli flies to Sumba Tengah, central Sumba, in the province of Nusa Tenggara Timur, one of the poorest regions of Indonesia. Rural, remote, roads unpaved for kilometers. In a small village there, he attends the inauguration of a brand new early childhood school. The name, PAUD Sehati. He paid for the construction himself. Before the rebuild, according to Indonesian reporting, the children had studied in a makeshift bamboo structure. After, they have real classrooms, real walls, real chairs. He says in his own words that he was inspired to do this by another young Indonesian investor, a 21-year-old named Timothy Ronald, who has publicly committed to building 1,000 schools across Indonesia through his own foundation. Then, in February 2026, Suli and his community take on another cause. Honorary teachers in the same province of NTT, specifically a teacher named Agustinus, who had served 23 years. His monthly salary had been cut from 600,000 rupiah down to 223,000, about $14 a month. The principal of the same school was earning about $6 a month. Suli and the Trade with Suli community publicly commit to providing lifelong financial support to these teachers. His guiding line, in his own words, "Success must have social impact." He also says this, "Many people want to get rich quick, but they do not want to understand the process. I want to change that. If I can help even one person escape financial confusion, that is worth more than $1 million. $17 can become $3 million. 14,000 can become 147 million. But a 19-year-old choosing to build a school with his profits in one of the poorest regions of his own country, that is a return you cannot measure in percent." That's a wrap. $17 turned into $3 million in 10 days. 13,000 held for 14 years to become 147 million. And a 19-year-old giving part of his crypto profits back to children in a village most of the world will never visit. Crypto is full of dark stories. It is also full of stories like these. The trick is knowing which ones to remember. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. We drop new episodes every week. We'll see you next time on SEA Daily Buzz.